Hello and welcome to Soul in Balance. My name's Alicia and this is the place to get your regular cosmic news. And in this video, we're going to be going over the new moon in Gemini. There's going to be ultra special. So we have at this time the North Node, which is the collective soul direction in Gemini, and we also have the ruler of Gemini and this new moon also in Gemini. So this new moon is going to be setting the tone for the next 18 months. So it is very important what we set our intentions to at this time, because this is going to be the direction that we are headed. So it can be a time of just a lot of confusion, information overload. Like, as we know, especially on the global platform, there is just so much information coming through, sorting through fake news, what's true, what's not, what resonates with us, what are our belief systems, how do we need to change our belief systems to suit our new direction moving forward, and especially our internal communication. This is where it's all happening, like we really need to be checking our internal communication towards ourselves at this time as well. So it is going to be a very funky new moon. So stay tuned and I'll bring you the rest of the video. Okay, so new moon in Gemini, and the new moon is going to be at 2 degrees of Gemini, and like always the sun and the moon are together. And also the ruler of this new moon and of Gemini is Mercury, and Mercury's in Gemini with Venus retrograde and Vesta and the North Node. So it is just a cosmic soup in Gemini right now. It's a very mentally stimulating time. And if we break down what Gemini means, Gemini is friendships, Gemini is communication, it's short distance travel, it's community, it's connection, it's the lovers in tarot, it's twins. There's a lot of aspects to Gemini, and a lot of people just think Gemini is just an air sign, it's very just mental, but Gemini really does get that information and can be quite deep. So it's not just this airy fairy time of just gathering knowledge. It is a time of going deep and processing that knowledge, especially with Venus retrograde there, so we understand our own internal communication and the communication and what's going on around us. Now this new moon is going to be trining out to Saturn. Now, as this new moon is setting the tone for the next 18 months with the North Node in Gemini, this trine to Saturn is really going to help us ground our new ideas, ground the information that we're gathering and understanding, and grounding our own beliefs, not other people's, not what society wants us to believe, our own information that we've gathered, that we understand and what resonates with us. So this can be a really pivotal time. So, don't waste this time. It can be a time of wanting to escape, especially with this square out to Neptune, which, when things get tough, we just want to run away and escape into a fantasy. And this is where delusions and heartbreak and issues happen if we try to escape. We really need to be getting down and getting our hands dirty and figuring out what's real and what's not. And doing those things we need to be doing to move forward, but at a very relaxed and flowing pace, because we do have Mars over there in Pisces. So this means if we push anything, it's just not likely to happen, and we're going to get frustrated, because when Mars is in Pisces, it's about surrendering. It's about letting go, letting the divine take the lead. But at the same time, we just need to be understanding what's going on internally, the information that we're gathering, and then laying down, and paving the way, slow and steady wins the race. So this isn't a time just to be racing out and getting our ideas out there. It's a time of thinking and understanding and gathering knowledge. So I hope that kind of makes sense. I kind of went around a bit there, but yeah, this is definitely a time of, gathering knowledge and finding out what works for us. And especially with Venus retrograde again, which is about our passions and our creativity and making money. This is a time of going in and what is working for us. And especially as we have had all the lockdowns and the quarantines, we have had a lot of time to think and break away from our old habits and what we've been doing, our work, our social life, and all those types of things. So we have already had this time to contemplate what is working for us and what is not. But now we're being asked again to still think about what we want. But it is a time of everyone just kind of like at the edge of their seat, just wanting to go out and, speak to people and be part of a community. And especially with the North Node here as well, like, even on the global platform, we can't travel, we can't go overseas, we can only just be in our local communities. And this is exactly what this North Node is saying, like, focusing on our local communities and what we can do here. And, I have my North Node in Gemini as well. So for me, this is just something I've been working, for a while now. So I definitely understand how this works. It really is just a time of finding our own beliefs, like, and understanding as well that this square to Mercury and to Venus from Neptune is really just asking us to listen to what we say to ourselves. Because what we say to ourselves is what we're going to see, is what we're going to create, is what we're going to manifest. So we really need to be going in and checking what we're saying. And me, I can tell you myself, I'm really bad at this. I can be super, super negative, and then I see it out in my world, like we can look back at our past experiences and our patterning and think, well, this has happened and this has happened and this has happened, so this is definitely going to happen, and, we start to get in these negative mindsets, and then we see it in our reality. So I think with this square, it's really asking us to go inside and check our communication to ourselves. Are we freaking validating ourselves? Are we saying to ourselves how bloody awesome we are? Today, in the last few days, actually, I've been listening to that George Michael song, Absolutely Flawless. And oh my God, I just think it's so fitting for this time. It's like going to the city and realizing how beautiful and fabulous you are. Like, because we can't go and travel, we can't go and escape. We have to just realize how fantastic we are and get out in the community and do something, be a part of the community as much as we can at this time. Okay, so let's get some cards for this new moon in Gemini. So let me know how you're all feeling. Just give me some comments of how this time's affecting you, like how you're having to readjust your life. What's been going on in communication with you, what's been going on in your relationships. It really is a very crazy time at the moment, especially with these squares to Neptune, especially with this Venus retrograde. Oh my God, like what's real and what's not at the moment. Okay, so I've got a few cards for today, 6, actually 2 from each deck. Now I have reflection, illusion, self-examination, and distortion. I have healing, reconnecting to your true nature. I have weight, father healing, and every journey starts with a single step, and visions of life beyond death. Okay, so let's see here. We'll start with this one. So reflection, illusion, self-examination, and distortion. Now, this is definitely possible at the moment with the squares from Venus retrograde and Mercury out to Neptune. This can be a lot of illusions and delusions and self-examination and reflection. This is really a time for going in and checking in what is real. Our eternal communication to ourselves, who we're connected to, have we been under an illusion of the people that we are connecting to? So this is definitely a time of understanding, you know, who we're with, what we're doing, and what direction we are going when it comes to our relationships, and not using our relationships as a way to escape. And, you know, like me, I've been guilty of this myself. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm, you know, the most wholesome person out there. Like, there's been times in my life where I've got so much going on and there's so much I don't want to deal with, and I just want to escape and run away to a beautiful illusion of a relationship or somebody or some, you know, like some new thing in my life. You know, like everyone, you know, has done this. So it's not a time for doing this. It's really with what comes up, with what we need to process and what we need to see. We really need to be seeing it and reflecting on it, so we don't get caught up in these illusions and delusions at this time. We've also got healing and reconnecting with your true nature. Now, that is what this Venus in retrograde is all about, connecting to our true nature of who we really are. You know, we're needing to go inwards. And even with Mars in Pisces, it's the spiritual warrior really connecting to the truth of, you know, the universe and who we are as a soul. We're not just this 3D reality and what our mind is telling us, you know. So it's definitely a time of just reconnecting to our needs and what we really want in a heartfelt way. You know, what makes sense, what, you know, resonates, what belief systems resonate with us. And we've got here wait. Now, I think this is really important again with Mars in Pisces, is to wait and to not push things. This is not a time to be pushing things. This is a time of allowing and contemplating and, you know, putting the pieces together, gathering the information so we can then move forward. So definitely waiting and relaxing and finding time to rest is very important at this time, and knowing that you're not going to miss the boat if you don't get everything done all now. You know, like don't be comparing yourself to other people and what they're accomplishing. It's, you're on a different journey. You've had different lessons to other people, you know, like some people have had it easier, some people have had it harder. Like everybody has different lessons here and there. You know, some people have to this life more focus on career and their work. Other people have been called to come inside and focus on what's inside. Everything is just as important as the other. So I think at this time is to not worry about, you know, what everybody else is doing, only what you're doing. Now, we also have father healing. Now, we did get this the other week, actually. And this can just be, you know, like healing towards the masculine, you know, healing towards the patriarchy and the world that we've lived in that's been, you know, male dominated, you know, soldier on, you know, no time for feelings. Or it could just be, you know, a relationship, or, you know, a relationship with your father, you know, like maybe you didn't have that communication and nurturing that you needed. And in some ways you need to, you know, forgive and let go of that, even connecting to your own masculine and, you know, forgiving the masculine as a whole, you know. So there's a lot of healing to do around the masculine at the moment, because the old patriarchy is falling apart. But we need to understand that the masculine is only wounded because the feminine is wounded, because these things need to be in balance. So there's no point holding grudges and being angry and holding resentment and not forgiving, because this isn't going to help you or anyone or your vibration, because you're just going to attract more of what you don't like. So this is definitely a time of, yeah, healing the masculine, forgiving the patriarchy, or a father or father figure in your life, or a partner, you know. So, you know, it is definitely a time for forgiving and letting go of these things. We've also got every journey starts with one step. Now, we've all gone through the quarantine, lockdown phases. Some of us are slowly walking out of that and some of us are still in it. So we need to understand that, you know, taking that next step of our new direction, you know, some of us have lost our jobs, haven't been able to work, or, you know, had to do a complete career change, or figure out that this job that we've been in all this time doesn't make us happy. So we want to do what we're more passionate about. And all that, you know, needs to happen with, you know, taking that first step. but you don't need to rush out and take that first step. Just allow it to flow when it feels right. And that can be like something like controlling your mind, because in our mind, if we're really negative, if we keep saying to ourselves, it's not going to work, I'm not good at this, how can I ever do this, nothing works out for me, it's more daunting, you know. And I think that term sometimes is start before you're ready. But then I don't want to be telling people to like go rush out and do something, because we really are being asked to just allow and let things flow easily. But if you do get that feeling, you know, that something's just working for you really easy and it's what you're passionate about and you love it and it's making you happy, go in that direction and just put one foot in front of the other. So definitely, you know, it really does start with that first step to change. And this can be anything in your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be career. It can be letting go of old patterns. It can be communicating what your needs are, especially at this time. It really is about communication. So if you're somebody that doesn't communicate your needs or doesn't feel comfortable communicating your needs, it starts with one step of, you know, making that change and saying what you want. So whatever this resonates in your life of taking the first step, this is the time to take the first step. We've also got visions of life beyond death. Now, we've had a bit of a death process with life lately, especially with the epidemic and stuff like that. So there are lots of visions of hope coming through. And I think we need to focus on what we want to see in the world, not what all the doom and gloom and fear and all this stuff that's going on. We really need to imagine and be thinking about what life we want after this, you know, because we're not going to be going back to the old way. And I think it's really important that we understand that, because a lot of people are just sitting there on social media saying, oh, I can't wait till things go back to normal. And things just aren't going to go back to normal, you know. So, you know, a new life is emerging, a new way is emerging. So the best thing to do is set up your own belief systems about this, what you want to see, what you believe you're going to see, and what you know you're going to see, so you have a great world as you step into this new world. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm all about belief systems. Like seriously, realistically, whatever we believe, we're just going to see it. So for me, it's just working on what we believe and changing inside, changing, you know, our brain patterning, you know. So yeah, so definitely at this time, yeah, there's a lot of messages coming through, which makes so much sense with all the planets in in Gemini right now. So yeah, there's just so much information and so many cards, but I hope that helped you. But yeah, so let me know how you feel about those cards. So I just want to quickly touch on the asteroid Vesta, which is the Greek goddess of domestic life, of the home, of warmth, of cooking, of warm water. So this is the goddess of, you know, feeling comfort in the home, feeling comfort in our community, in our domestic life. And in Gemini, it's really asking us to find comfort in what we're saying, especially to ourselves and in our communities. Like there's a lot of crappy information and stuff going around on social media, and it's like, are we really in integrity in what we're saying? Are we really passionate about what we're saying, especially to ourselves, but on the global platform as well? So I think at this time, it's really about finding that fire within, finding that passion within to say how we really feel, and say it with integrity. Say, you know, like what is real and what's going to help people, not to put people in a fear state or just put rubbish out there, you know. Like we're all kind of sorting through what's real and what's not with all this fake news at the moment. And, you know, like be part of that change of putting out stuff that's real, putting out stuff that you've actually researched, because there's people who just believe what other people have said and what other people have said and what other people have said. And there's just so many agendas right now. Like, so I don't want to get too much into the conspiracy theories, but it is definitely a time of just researching stuff. Don't just blindly, you know, say things because Bob, Dick and Harry said it, you know, on the TV, or your mate says this. It's something that comes from integrity that you actually know and have a fire and a passion for. So I think it's definitely a time to really have a think about what we're saying and what we're putting out into the world as well. So yeah, I just think it's really important to understand at this time that it's okay to feel unsure of what action to take moving forward. you know, it can be a time of massive confusion, you know, like so much information and just even not even having the energy to move forward, just wanting to kind of just sit back and process what's going on. So, you know, definitely don't be pushing yourself at this time. I know that I'm not doing that, and you know, like I have a Taurus ascendant, so I'm quite happy just sitting around doing nothing. Yeah, so it's definitely a time of a lot of confusion, but I think the most important thing to understand is with all this confusion is that when we're trying to escape something that we need to do, how we feel inside, this is when we're going to run up against illusions and delusions. If we are keeping it real, doing the work that we need to do, using that energy and what we're feeling to create something, like, you know, do a hobby, you know, do something new, like do something that you're passionate about, and channeling that energy into something else, that fear energy or whatever's coming up for you, instead of going into a fantasy, whether it's a relationship, whether it's substances, whether it's food, whether it's movies, whatever it is to just avoid that illusion and running away and escapism, and then we won't have all these massive letdowns, especially in relationships. But if we just try and stay grounded and stay solid in the truth and what our beliefs are and what we can see with all the information we've gathered, I think we're going to be going on the right track and things aren't going to be as difficult. But it is okay to feel unsure and confused at this time. You know, like Gemini is all about being in two minds. So, you know, as the sun moves through, this is only going to intensify, especially with the eclipses that are coming up, which is going to be super fun. But yeah, so just be kind to yourself at this time. I think I say that every video, but it is important that we are super kind to ourselves, especially with Venus retrograde at the moment. So yes, I hope you have a fantastic and super magical and ultra special new moon in Gemini, and it is definitely a time to write down your intentions, like definitely whether you're communicating them or writing them down. This is definitely a time for that. So anyway, have a fantastic new moon in Gemini, and I'll see you soon.